Do you know that I've never been up here?
This is my, what do you call that, BNP, whatever. I have friends come from France or from
This is fantastic.
Dubai or from
You know what?
Switzerland. This is good, right?
Yeah.
You have jets in the tub, you have a steam shower, you have a bidet, you have everything in there.
Oh, thank you, honey. So this is where I'm staying. I think Sonia's a little rudderless without her daughter around, and I think that it'll be good for us to be together. I'm like the man in the relationship with Sonia, and I think when I'm around, she feels more stable.
This house is a full-time job.
Why don't you get something else? I don't understand.
No, but I don't want to rent.
I totally disagree. You know why? Because I don't want to own two properties. I have a house in the
Yeah, you have a
Hamptons.
house in the Hamptons.
And I am convinced I'm going to meet Mr. Right, just like you, and who knows where he'll whisk me off to.
I think it's realistic for Luann to find someone because she's been out there, she's been dating, it's time, and besides, her odds are good since she's dating 11 guys at once.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Hey, Luann! Countess Luann. So, wow. So before we start,
That's so funny, 6011? Is that a number?
I think so. Before we start, what do we call you? Are you the Countess? Are you Luann? What do we call you?
Well, listen, you know, I am Luann, as you know, but I do have a title. I married a French aristocrat by accident, whoopsie. And so everybody's like, we don't want to call you Luann. We want to call you the Countess. So I was like, you know what? You can call me the Countess. You can call me Luann. Because I'm getting married. For some of you that don't know that, I'm engaged. So is that your next question?
Yeah, well, we'll get to that part. So first of all, we're going to talk for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to take questions, so you can ask all those awful questions about the worst housewives. Luann will tell us everything. But let's start with, how did all this begin for you? Life before Housewives, you were doing what?
Well, life before Housewives, I actually went to nursing school in Connecticut. I'm a nurse. And I got scouted to be a model in New York, so I moved to New York City. I came on a bus. I had never been to New York in my life, and I was 23. And then I heard all the models talking about Milan and Paris, and I was like, I want to go there. I felt completely ripped off, so I'm like, I saved some money. I ended up going to Milan, and I wound up in Italian television. I didn't do well as a model. It was, you know, I had to, they were like, lose 15, 20 pounds and see in a couple months. And so I didn't do well as a model, so I ended up finding television, and I worked for Berlusconi. I was the host of a show on soccer, which a lot of people don't know about me. I have a background in television, and then I ended up staying. I went for 3 months, and I stayed for 12 years, because after I did the show, I ended up as a co-host of a show on soccer, and you know, the Italians love soccer, as you know, so I became a big celebrity over there in Italian television, and then I met my husband skiing in Switzerland, and we moved to Switzerland after that.
So Housewives is not your first taste of fame. You had it in Italy.
In Italy, yes. It was incredible. I mean, and I started as like the Vanna White of Italian television. I didn't speak Italian, so I was like turning letters and like game shows. And then the manager I happened upon said, you know, if you could speak Italian, you could go really far. So I went to the Berlitz School and I learned to speak Italian, and I still speak Italian. And then I moved to Switzerland and I learned to speak French, because that's what they speak in Switzerland, or Swiss German. So I kind of veered towards French, because I have a good example. In Italian, you say farfalle, which is a butterfly, right? We say butterfly. And in French, it's papillon. And in German, it's Schmetterling. So I was like, I'm going to learn French.
So you learned your language. So there you are in Italy. You can speak Italian at this point. You're the Vanna White of Italy. You're at your own term. And then how did you become a countess?
Well, because I was skiing in Switzerland at the time with an Italian boyfriend, and I met my soon-to-be husband at a dinner party. And we got married 2 weeks later, and unbeknownst to me, I became a countess. I had no idea what that. I was like, what is the count? I mean, what is a count?
So in 2 weeks, you got married? We
got married after 2 weeks. We fell madly in love, and we eloped. And that lasted for 16 years. So, and I have 2 great kids. So, and then it worked out.
Yeah. And then when you became the countess, is that a title that you have to sort of put now on envelopes? Did you change your name? How did that work?
Well, yeah, our letters came, Count and Countess de Lesseps in Switzerland. Can I tell you, everybody uses titles in Europe. And what it meant was I was going to hobnob with a lot of, for example, I would go to the King of Greece's, the baptism of his grandson, and Prince William was the godfather, and so the King of Spain said, I'd like you to meet my sister, as I'm sitting at the table with him, and over walks the Queen of Spain. So I'm like, oh, that's your sister? Hello. So I got thrown into this world of the aristocracy, and went to many, baptisms and weddings and things like that with the aristocrats and the jet setters.
How's your curtsy?
How's my curtsy?
Yeah, can you do one of those?
You know what? I could do a curtsy,
Let's see. Should we-
but people are less formal than you think. So, for example, when I met the Queen of Spain, I didn't really know what to do. So when you don't know what to do, it's really up to the Queen or whoever to really kind of show you the right thing to do. So she extended her hand and her face. And I was like, oh, okay. So I gave her my hand and
It stuck your neck out?
gave her an air kiss, because that's what they do. And so basically they kind of guide you because they're used to people not knowing what to do around them. So they kind of guide you through it, which is kind of cool. Because that's what's classy to me. Class is about how you treat people. It's not about money, and God knows I sang Money Can't Buy You Class, which some of you may know. I love that song. How much do we love Money Can't Buy You Class? Anyway, so they kind of guide you, and that's what a true aristocrat and noble person does. They make you feel comfortable, and that's what class is all about.
So it sounds like you were welcomed into that club with open arms. People were kind.
I was. It didn't hurt that I was a TV star either. I was kind of attractive. It was, they kind of welcomed me, and I was married to an aristocrat that was very well known. I don't know if you know the de Lesseps. They actually were the family that did the Suez Canal and the Panama Canal, and they gave the Statue of Liberty to this country for the French, because the French handed over the Statue of Liberty to the U.S., so the de Lesseps were the family that did that. So it's a very important name in history. I didn't pick it out of, a Cheerios box. Anyway, so, yeah.
And then, so after that, when did you come back to America? So you're living in Switzerland, this incredible fairy tale life.
Exactly.
And then why come back
It's
to
like,
America?
pinch me, here I am. And, I gave up my career. I left Italian television, and I moved to Europe moved to Switzerland with my husband, because I knew if I didn't jump on that train was leaving without me. And I was madly in love with him, so it was a no-brainer. When you know, right? You know when you know, and so I left my career. I lived all that time in Switzerland, and I stayed until, let's see, that was 1990, moved to Europe. We got married in 93, because it took me 3 years to meet him. And then we stayed until 2002. I came back right after 9/11. So I stayed, for 12 years in Europe.
And the family, you and your 2 children, your husband moved back. Was it to New York?
No, we had a summer home in the Hamptons. So we were living most of the year in Switzerland, and then we would come to the Hamptons in the summer. So the natural thing to do was to move my family to the Hamptons. And, my father wasn't well at the time. He had cancer, he got diagnosed with cancer. And I just missed America. I had been gone for 12 years, so I missed the 90s completely. You're like, you remember that show from the 90s? I'm like, no. Or like music, I went missing and just had my family. My children were raised there. It was an incredible experience.
And then explain to everybody that moment that probably changed your life, and we all got to know you when you got the Housewives. How did that happen? Did you audition?
No, I did audition in the end, but I was at a screening of a Michael Moore movie in the Hamptons with actually Tommy Hilfiger, who married a friend of mine from Monaco. She's from Monaco, and Dee. And so Dee and I are friends, so they invite me to this screening, and I'm there, and I see this guy buying my niece a shot of tequila, and my niece is like 23. I'm like, who is this dude? Like, older guy, so I zone in on that. I'm like, oh, hello. And he's like, anyway, so he buys her a shot, and I said, well, I'll take one of those too. And then over walks his wife, and she walks up to me, and she says, hi, I'm Jill Zarin. And Bobby, and I'm like, oh my God, I'd never seen anything like it, because I'd been gone for a long time. I've never seen that woman looking like her with this red hair, and she had this huge presence and that Long Island accent. I was like, what is that? And I fell in love with her. We started to talk, and we went out to an after party, and she said to me, I'd like you to come to my 4th of July party, and I said, I'd love to, but I'm going to be in Europe. And gave her my card, because at the time I was trying to do some local television shows out in the Hamptons, and she goes, well, because I'm having a party. I'd love for you to come, and I'm doing a show, a reality show called Manhattan Moms.
Oh, it wasn't Housewives?
Wasn't the Housewives? No, because I think if they told me it was the Housewives and I had seen Orange County, I would have said no. So, they started with that, and then it became the Real Housewives of New York. And anyway, so Jill said, you'd be, so when I came back from Europe, she emailed me, and she said, the producers are here. You would be perfect for the show. So it kind of came to me. It really came to me through Jill Zarin. So.
God bless Jill Zarin. Every story
God
ends
bless Jill
with Jill
Zarin. Love Jill
Zarin.
Zarin. Where's Bobby?
And
Where's Bobby?
So originally, this was a show about Manhattan ladies that were mothers, and you taped a pilot.
Exactly. So Jill, of course, and I, she had Allie and I had Victoria, kind of the same age, and then they had Alex and Simon. I don't know where they got them. Then Ramona came along, and then Bethany finally. Bethany came, I think, second season. I don't think she was first season. I think she was second season, actually. Or came in kind of towards the end of the first season. I can't remember exactly, but, and who else was there? There was Ramona, Sonia. Oh, no, Sonia came in season 3. So it was Alex and Simon, myself, Jill, Ramona, and who am I leaving? That was it.
I think that was it.
It was
And then
pilot.
how quickly did was Heather? Kelly. Was Kelly Benson on second?
No, Kelly came later, too.
Second, thank
Yeah.
you. And then how quickly did you know the show was a hit? Like, didn't it just shoot you out of
Oh
a
my God!
cannon?
After the first season, I mean, it was a huge success. After the first and second seasons, it became, and we did a pilot. We got paid nothing
What did you get paid?
for the
$7,000?
whole season.
Yeah.
$10,000.
What?
Probably kill me.
$10,000?
It's out there now. Anyway, yeah, it was a pilot, so we got paid very little, and now we're finally getting paid. But it took. This is our 8th season now, so
What are you getting paid now?
I can't tell you that. I'd have to kill you.
So the show took off really quickly, and then you started to get recognized here. How did that feel?
It was, I had been a star in Italian television, so look, I find it always that people recognize you and they like the show and they, feel like they want to know you and all that. I've always found that gratifying. We got a call after the first season from a woman who had cancer and she was in the hospital with her daughter, and they talked about it every week, and it was like their thing, and they were, and we got a phone call from them saying, you know what, every week we talk about the show and it just brightens up our day and brightens up my mother's life. And so, that we can touch people and help people in any way is great. That we can be inspirational in any way as businesswomen, and, we do a lot for charities on the show, which a lot of people don't talk about. It's always about the drama, but there's always a backdrop, which is, the Cancer Society for the homeless in New York. I've done a lot of, charity work like that. So there's a lot of great things besides the drama and a lot of happy moments, obviously. But I love the fans. I'm the first one to take a picture with everybody, and that's what makes it worthwhile to me.
And then just a few secrets of the show I think everybody wants to know. Is it scripted? Is it real, or is that show scripted?
No, it's not scripted at all. What happens is it's produced. So it's like, Luann, what are you doing this week? What's happening in your life for the next couple of weeks? So you've got a lot of women to deal with. So we're 7 women, sometimes 7, sometimes 6, but over the seasons. But basically, it's about what you're up to in your life. So then we kind of pick and choose, which is more exciting, which is, what would be more fun to watch. And so what happens in those moments is unscripted. It's, it's produced and edited, but it's not scripted.
So it sounds that like the framework then is in place. So
Framework is kind of there, but we go along, from week to week it changes. I mean, this season we had like 3 different trip destinations, and because of one reason or another, one got canceled because somebody wasn't well, and then so we're very flexible with our schedule. So, and you have to be, and that's a great thing. I've done Law and Order with Mariska Hargitay, and I give her credit because that is an all day, in the trailer, in and out, show, and I had a small part on it, but you go, you wait, you wait. And I love working in reality because it's really about our schedule and how we roll. So that's a very nice way to work.
What's the worst thing about the show for you? What drives you nuts?
When other people stress for me, I think that makes me more stressed. You know, when people are stressed out for you, they're like, oh God, I can't believe she said that. And it's like, you know, I did a song after Money Can't Buy You class, I did Chic C'est La Vie, and one of the lines in the song is, the little things can take you down, so it's best to brush them off. And that,
Give it up.
that's what I do. That's what I do. I over the years, I've gotten a thick skin. Nobody messes with my happiness and my inner sanctum.
I like that.
And
It's good advice.
can't let it happen.
I think you can tell on the show, though, the ladies that are in on the joke, and I mean that in the kindest way, but the ones that treat this as a job and a fun job at that, and the ones that take it a little too serious.
Yeah, there's always one of those.
Can you spot them right away? Do you know that the ladies that are going to connect and the ones that don't?
No, I can't spot them right away because it's a progressive thing. You know, they kind of turn diva as the season goes on, you know, or year after year. It's like, you know, the clothes get better, the makeup gets better. They learn the tricks of the trade, and then get all diva'd out. So we've had a couple of those. I think in all the years, I mean, I've been doing this 8 years now. It's my job. Do I take it seriously? Yes. I kind of make light of it and try not to take it seriously. Otherwise, you know, I would suffer. You know, Jill would get the episode and she would go, let's watch the episode. I'm like, no, I want to have a good time tonight and not stress about the fact that I said that. So you know, I'd always been the last one to watch the show.
Explain some of the remarkable things that have happened in your life here in America since the show took off. Your clothing
Oh my
collection.
God. Sorry?
Your clothing collection, the other stuff that...
Oh my God, yeah. Well, this is the Countess collection that I'm wearing.
Very
I'm doing
nice.
a line of apparel for women. I call it Glamour on the Go. Everything's made in New York, and I wear it to red carpet events. I wear it on shows like this. And it's great bringing fashion that I love to everyone and making it affordable. It's made in New York, and I call it chic, made easy, and comfortable. Because I have to be comfortable. I mean, I work a lot, I'm traveling a lot. You know, these things I can fold and put in my bag, and they look great. I took a long trip, and they lost my luggage, so I went from sleeping in a dress to going to a meeting. And you know what? The dress looked like the moment that I put it on. And that, for me, is really important. You can, like, wrap it up and throw it in your bag. Anyway, I have a show a show on Evine. My collection's on evine.com, and I have a show coming up on June 2nd. So I actually go on air and on Evine and do my collection. I have jewelry, and now I've just signed a deal to do bedding.
Oh.
So I'm doing bridal bedding. Sexy.
Is bridal bedding different from any bedding?
Well, yeah, it has to be bridal sexy.
And then
It's like a wedding dress is different than any other dress, right?
It's a good point. And then tell us a little bit about your singing career. A lot of housewives have tried this. I think you've probably been the most successful. Why do you think that is?
Well, you know, all of my music comes from, or is based on the women on the show, really. I mean, that's where I get my inspiration. So I will not tell you where Money Can't Buy You class comes from. I think you can guess, for those of you who watch the show. And then Chic C'est La Vie, it's really about, you know, our travels, living the life that we do, but having fun with it. And then, of course, the Girl Code, which is my favorite latest dance single, which is all about how girls have to have each other's backs. And, you know, that's not always the case. So I sing about, don't break the girl code.
Don't break the girl code. And then next for you, I guess, is this massive...
And that's on iTunes, by the way.
iTunes.
For those interested here, it's a really fun song. It's really funky, groovy. I wanted to do something different.
It's a great song. And then
Thank
I
you.
actually went to a club with you one night, and they got you up on
BuzzFeed
stage.
party.
Yeah, there was a party, and you were up on stage singing it, and people went nuts.
I know, it was great. I did the gay pride parade with it, with my daughter. My daughter sang with me on Watch What Happens Live. I don't know if any of you caught that, but I had my daughter sing on the track with me, so that was a lot of fun. My daughter's 21 now, so.
We're going to take some questions from the audience in, I think, about a minute. But before we do that, let's just clear up some rumors. You're getting married.
Rumors.
Getting married. Are you going to lose the Countess title?
Well, technically I am, because I'm getting married. So, but once a countess, always a countess. Like, I'm a nurse, so I say once a nurse, always a nurse. You know, and Tom said, how do you feel about marrying a commoner? Because his name is Tom. And I said, there's nothing common about you, darling. I mean, and he's fabulous. So it's a part of who I am. People are like, we don't want to call you Luann, we want to call you the Countess. I'm like, go ahead.
Cover.
And so I'm good with that. I had a long reign.
You did
and
indeed.
I'm carrying on.
You didn't. Another rumor that we want to clear up to is the wedding's going to be televised on Bravo.
Well, I don't know about that.
Is there conversations?
There's conversations, but there's no decision yet. I think we're going to keep that kind of private.
Keep it private.
Don't you think?
I think you should keep it private. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
People want to see it. No, I think the audience want to see it.
Okay, hands up for private.
No.
Hands up for private. Hands up for televised.
Televised it. Pretty overwhelming.
All right,
Televised, I think.
okay.
And then finally,
Did
before
you hear that, Bravo?
finally, before we take questions from the audience, which of the ladies are not going to get invited to the wedding?
Well, it depends on how they behave at the reunion. Got the reunion coming up, so let's see. Let's see how they behave. And, it was like last week, I was like, I should invite Ramona. And then she pulled the fast one on me this week on the show. I'm like, forget it. She's off the list. So, I go up and down who's coming and who's not. But we'll have to see what happens, as they would say on Bravo. Yeah,
It's good. We're going to take some questions. Let's take them from the audience. Who do we have?
Hey, Luann. Elegance is learned, my friend.
Oh, my gosh.
A huge fan. I heard you're going to be on season 2 of Difficult People. Could you share a little bit about that experience?
Oh, yeah. I read an article that Julie Klausner did for, I think it was the New York Times. And I can't remember exactly what publication it was, but Julie Klausner was saying, she called me her favorite housewife, and she was talking about how much she loved me and all these things. I'm like, I need to meet this woman. So I met her for breakfast, and she asked me to be on the show. So I was so thrilled because I love to do scripted and I love comedy. So yeah, that season is coming up in July, and I play one of her friends, basically. Wow. So yeah, that's very cool.
She said you were her favorite housewife? That's amazing.
I'm her favorite housewife.
Who's your favorite housewife?
My favorite housewife? Yeah. Of my franchise?
Yeah, whoever.
Or any franchise?
Any franchise.
I'd have to say Lisa Vanderpump.
Lisa Vanderpump.
Yeah, I like Lisa. She's strict.
Yep.
She's proper.
She's British.
She's British. I like that. Yeah.
We have another question. The lady, the gentleman here. What's your question, sir?
Good to have you here. So, what have you learned from the cast of the show that resonated with you?
What have I learned from the cast?
Yeah.
Of the show? Year after year, I always go, what are we going to do this season to make it different and whatever? And it's just so funny because at this point, it's like my dysfunctional family. And I come from a big family. I come from one of 7. So I'm used to dealing with a lot of personalities. And so what they taught me is that I'm grateful that I had a big family. And I can walk the tightrope, because working with all these different women and their personalities is not easy.
It is like a family. Do you see each other when the show's not filming? Do you stay in touch?
Oh, the girls, yeah. We just, actually, it was my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
So my fiance had a party for me, and so some of the housewives came.
There's a story that Ramona wasn't invited, true?
Well, it was a surprise party.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't know who was invited or not. So. Not my
wasn't
problem.
there.
I didn't do it.
We have one more question, I think. Where's that one? The lady at the back.
How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Just listening to your resume, and you speaking, you were being a nurse and a model and an actress. You sound like a really big dreamer, and that's really refreshing to see. What advice do you have, and what kind of pushes you through life and living like that?
That's a great question.
That's a good question, and thank you for that compliment, because I take it as a very big compliment. I think curiosity is what's always driven me, like how everybody lives. Like, there's this whole world in Europe, and I had never been there in my life, and I thought, I can't believe I didn't know this whole world existed. So I would say it's curiosity, and I would say that I put one foot in front of each other every day, and I don't look back. I'm not a reminiscer. I don't think, really too much about the past. I don't think too much about, my old house in Bridgehampton that I had, and now I got a new house, and I absolutely love it. I don't think much about that house. I lived there for years with my children. They were raised there. I keep it moving, and I think the most important thing is to, like I said earlier, you get on that train or you're going to miss it. So keep looking forward and put out there in the universe. You know, I, for example, built an addition on my house in the Hamptons. And saying to Sonia, when I said that to Sonia, like, I'm going to meet Mr. Right, I know I am. And I know I'm going to have somebody in my life again. I built this addition, you know, with a walk-in closet, and I thought, you know, if there's no man, I'll just use up all the space myself. And Tom walked into my life. So I think you have to really make your wishes something that you paint the town red in, and hopefully they come true.
You're so positive. Let's give it up for Countess Luann. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luann.
Thanks, Rob. Fabulous.